Alright, this is the third time recording this. Hashtag greenwall. Hashtag paywall.
I'm really glad I kind of muted the little weird kind of things you just said last game.
Alright, so I'm JTH.
You made that exact same joke last time. I'm not doing this. No, I'm calling him out, dude.
Alright, we're going to be going to the LCS on this day, actually, so our predictions are going to be in our faces after I'm already losing in China. I need to go back and actually do our predictions and see who's winning, because I don't trust you. I think I am losing, actually. But, we have Optic versus FlyQuest. Optic, from you guys know about our league power ranking video we did with Dr. Manhattan. I put Optic as my ninth place, and I put them as our dark horse. I think Optic aren't as bad as people make them out to be, but I feel like it's going to be really bad for a few weeks. And I mean maybe till like week 4 we see some actually anything out of the team. You have the best player is a jungler. The second best player is probably the top laner at the moment.
I would say that Dokla is probably their second best, yeah.
And then you have Crown. If Crown plays like anywhere, if Crown plays like Senkux, this team is not going to be as bad. Because if he just like supports his laners, that's okay. If you play just like Senkux, probably not going to happen. You have Arrow and Big, who are the clear liabilities on the team, I think. FlyQuest's bot lane isn't necessarily a liability. I think that they're just marginally outclassed by everyone, but they're not going to be outclassed by Arrow and Big. So
it's all dependent on. I mean, again, I don't know why we have Big in a team where what's it called? This
Crown is.
Well, either one of these players. Like, I don't know why Big keeps getting picked up. For the most part, I think that Arrow is quite capable still. I think that his laning hasn't really devolved. More so is his kind of enthusiasm for the game itself.
I think his support's been bad.
His support's obviously been bad. It's really affected the way he's kind of looked at the game. Like, I think that, I'm going to put it out there, I think that Optic could easily be one of the better teams in the league. Well, not better. I think that better is more of a stretch. I'm saying 6th. They could make it to 6. I think
could be
that's
at least
possible.
Decent.
I think that the two dark horses of this league are going to be Optic and Echo Fox, because we don't really know what they're capable of yet. The season hasn't started again, and they both have these kind of strengths in situations. I mean, in lanes where I would say the NA scene is kind of weaker in jungle and other stuff. Sorry, in top. Like, I think that their ability to split push in the top lane, I think that's going to really rely on how good Dokla is this year. Dokla, I mean, again, his ability to play these pocket picks was
and effectively carry and win games was astonishing.
Like, I think that's the biggest reason as to why I think that Optic might be able to. I think that they're kind of in a situation where teams can't really like leave these pocket picks open for him. If he's on these pocket picks, I think they're in a really good situation. If he's not, I mean, I don't know what he's gonna do, honestly.
Because he looked terrible in the middle ones.
I don't think he's looked terrible, but he's just looked average, and that's not good enough for anything. Like,
average is not good enough for LCS.
Yeah. Like, the problem is...
Did you see him on Camille and Sion?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like I don't know.
The problem is, like, Optic, again, has a lot of situations where I think there's some things that are going for them that are good. And FlyQuest also does. FlyQuest has JJ, who I think is an up-and-coming talent. I think that...
is not that bad.
Yeah, I think that trying to develop Viper as a player is a really good choice. And then Pobelter, who I think, on form, he's one of the better... He's a pretty decent mid laner in NA, so I think that FlyQuest could be good. And I obviously think they're capable of not being 10th place. But, again, like, they don't have any standout stars on this team, so it's kind of hard to put them very high. I think they're going to have to rely, again, more on outthinking their team, which I don't know if they're capable of.
I think they're going to rely on Viper for the first few weeks. I don't
know if they're going to be willing to rely on a rookie this early on in the season.
What else you got? Pobelter's...
Santorin?
You got to rely on Pobelter, like, being what he was, and then you're relying on Wild Turtle not looking impressive.
Wild Turtle has pop-off games. I mean, it's very capable. Like, JJ and Wild Turtle are not that bad of a bot lane.
I say for the first few weeks, you give Viper the keys to the car, and you see if he can drive you home. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They're not expected to do well. Like, I think their team is... Yeah, they have an easy week 1 anyway, so I think that they should go on stage and try stuff out anyway.
I don't know if trying something out when you're fighting game by game is a really good choice.
I think against a team like Optic, you should.
I don't think
Optic will be able to punish the mistakes you're going to be able to make sufficiently. Like all the other teams are going to be able.
to do. Golden Guardians is a pretty decent team that they're going to have to face day 1. So
and that's looking like a loss for them too. Oh yeah, we said it's going to be most likely a loss. I'm never wrong about these, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So I think For this time around, I'll say Optic wins.
I'm gonna say it's probably a very.
This is a toss-up.
It's not really a toss-up. I think both of these teams are capable of being decent. I don't think there's any completely horrible teams in the league. But I'm going to say Optic has a little bit more in terms of what I would say is shot calling in Meteos. And on top of the fact that I think that Dokla is not going to be punished as hard in the drafting phase by this team. So I think that they're going to have a lot of pressure coming out of top lane. And then Crown obviously is not bad. Even when off form, I still think he's he's a moderately okay mid laner. So I think he's going to be a mid-tier mid laner during this season. I mean, like, we saw what he's capable of on form, but I don't know if he's ever going to get back to that. So, yeah, I think this team pretty much outclasses FlyQuest in everything but maybe, like, support. And that's pretty much it.
No, this is the teams that are fighting for second and third. Cloud9 and 100 Thieves.
I think that, again, we're going to have really big differences in this because he's a Cloud9 fan, and I don't...
So the reason why they're... So how do 100 Thieves win the game, then?
I mean, just by playing. But for the most part, I think that Cloud9 probably doesn't have the edge here. But to be honest, I think that they have a lot of strengths in their team. I think Niski was a good pickup. Again, he's not as good as Jensen, so they're going to be weaker than last year.
I think Niski against Huhi is going to be pretty even. I think it's going to be favored in Niski's favor.
I'll give it slight edge to Niski, but I think the bot lane is going to be just a gigantic difference.
To be fair, Sneaky has faced Bang before, so we already kind of know what we're going to get out of that anyway.
You could say that a lot, but it doesn't mean he can stop it. Just because you've seen it before doesn't mean you're good enough to stop it from happening.
Did it look promising to you before?
It didn't. I'm just being honest. Like, 100 Thieves is obviously going to win in bot lane. I think that the big. I think
Licorice could handle Someday, but I think Someday's still better. But I think it's not like he's going to be like Someday's going to be completely crushing him.
I think that he's going to lose. I think it's going to be an obvious loss at the very least. But I think that Someday, Licorice is again capable of coming back from.
They're playing Blabber as Svenskeren in the jungle. I think Blabber as Svenskeren going to have the edge over Onda.
I don't know, man. Onda looked fine. I think that Svenskeren looked good, but again, he's inconsistent, and I think he's the one playing. Because I saw Blabber play in the academy scene both days. So,
yeah.
Again, Cloud9 is going to have to rely on Svenskeren being on the day.
So, this is going to be a most likely them fighting for... Like, this win matters a lot right now. Because if...
In my opinion, again...
This could basically make or break them later on in the season to get them the first round bye or have to play in the playoffs for the first round.
Again, they still have to beat TSM. I mean, both of these teams.
Who? 100 Thieves?
100 Thieves and Cloud9.
100 Thieves play TSM. Ooh, 100
yeah,
Thieves
what
have
I'm
a
saying,
really hard week.
Again, they have to beat out TSM.
This is the hardest week for all four playoff teams.
Again, I think there's a lot of competent teams in this top tier, and we're going to have to see how good these teams actually are.
I think if Cloud9 rely on their game sense and macro, I think they're going to be able to pull out the win. 100 Thieves could win simply by their laners pretty much being better.
Saying that they're going to win on macro when I don't think Cloud9's macro base is really that good.
Well, they're going to have new macro because they have new players now.
Is that a good thing? I don't think they have better macro than 100 Thieves on a good day.
Well, we don't know that yet. Both the teams are new now.
Yeah, but Aframu is still the shot caller. More so is I don't know who the shot caller is for Cloud9 anymore.
So you have the strong points for 100 Thieves are also going to be some strong points for Cloud9 too. Like I feel like if Blabber, Svenskeren, and Licorice, if they can out 2v2 Someday in Onda, that can be a win for them.
If that happens, which is very unlikely.
You have Niski. If he can basically roam around the map and do what he likes to do, outside of what he normally likes to, like I think Niski's gonna have to do something completely different here than he did in Europe, because Europe is about like the mid laners are trying to beat you in lane. Like here is about roaming and trying to get out of your lane and push your lead somewhere else, like in Europe too. But Europe is like really focused on that mid laner crushing you and then being able to mid, like I shove you in, I get to make the first move. North America is about when you don't see the enemy laner, they're probably doing something else. I think if Niski adapts to that style, like he kind of did at the end of the year, I think he'll be just fine.
I see. The problem is you're saying all these things as if Cloud9 overperforms in comparison to them, which is again, I don't think that Someday is capable of, like, I don't think Licorice and Svenskeren are capable of beating them. I'm gonna be honest. I think that the difference in top lane is too big. I think
but then it's balanced by the difference in jungle.
You're over exaggerating how bad Onda's looked incredible during the end of the season. I think that Svenskeren looked fine, but again, Svenskeren's inconsistent.
I mean, but Svenskeren performed against.
Yes, and is he playing that well consistently?
See, we don't know that. We don't even know if Onda's going to take the form he saw at Wolves.
It's very possible, but again, I think that the inability for Svenskeren to keep... What is that? What was that? I don't know.
No, is that a snake?
That was a snake.
We're gonna be dead.
Okay. Stop touching me, man. I think that
His back hurts.
Thank you. Thank you for telling. Yeah.
The world.
Okay, so thank you.
See, this is gonna. See, the reason why I said this win matters a lot right now for both of them is because this can basically make it so by the end of the season, this could put you in second or this could put you in third.
I think there's a lot of teams still fighting for this spot, so I wouldn't even say this is a definitive.
That means that's even worse then, because that means that this this matters even more because you have TSM are looking like they're gonna be a playoff team. You have who else? You said Clutch. I mean, we'll take that with a grain of salt. You have Golden Guardians. So like, there's a lot of teams fighting for the second spot, and I think these wins right now matter early on, so you don't have to play third place is 6th and fourth place is 5th. So for right now, I think Cloud9 wins.
You're gonna say that regardless of
but it's not like they're gonna smash 100 Thieves. I think it's gonna be a very, very close game. A lot of their games are actually really, really close, so I don't expect 100 Thieves to just roll over. If they get rolled over, I'm gonna laugh really hard.
I'm gonna be honest, I've never seen one prediction where he hasn't said Cloud9. Not a single one.
I'm not gonna do that.
During Worlds, he predicted Cloud9 to get first
and get semifinals.
He did. I'm surprised you didn't say they were gonna get Worlds.
I had him in my pickups to win Worlds.
He did,
but
like, he just I
had him facing IG in the finals, so I got the IG part right.
Yeah, but you got to be less biased next time. So for the most part, I think that 100 Thieves is just too dominant in the side lanes to kind of lose this lane matchup, and even their mid lane is a decently even matchup.
I think that the bot lane for 100 Thieves are gonna. We have to see how they perform first.
Yes,
we saw how a lot of the new bot lanes around the world have performed.
Yes,
and the being new is gonna be a problem you have to get over.
We've seen a lot of them underperform. We've seen a lot of them overperform.
So that's the thing.
We've seen Tucson and Deft looked incredible. I think they looked fine, even though you can't say they didn't.
I'll take it with a grain of salt. They looked good.
They looked great. I think they've won every single lane.
I think they only looked good because the rest of the team was just marginally garbage.
They won against lane. Winning.
I mean,
lane
they won lane, but
impressive.
like translating to a victory is different.
Yes, because the rest of their team is just too poor. Like saying that this bot lane worked out. Like without a doubt, Tucson and Death look fine.
Could you imagine if they had actually thrown good players on that team? That team would actually be better.
It's not over yet. I mean, the season just started.
Nonetheless,
I think
I'm gonna say Cloud9 every single time.
I don't think he's ever gonna not predict Cloud9. Just gonna put that out there.
I want to be 18-0 and I want to win the split.
Yes, but this is a whole thing about we have to make accurate.
Yeah, that gets thrown out. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm saying they win right now, but I'm gonna say 100 Thieves might win later on.
Okay, so well, I think 100 Thieves probably smashes this. To be honest,
I think this is gonna be a 25-minute win for us.
So,
but their games are always close. Like every single game they play is close. Both of them have the similar style they want to play. It just depends on who plays it better on the day.
Okay, so CLG versus Team Liquid.
Is there a reason why TL doesn't win this match?
I mean, again, their mid lane is
Wiggly's been set in scrims to perform really well. So
yeah, and if Wiggly overperforms, I think he's capable of being better than next Smithy on the day.
If I get that data I want, maybe life gets better. Right?
I mean, we don't even know how good this Team Liquid team is. Having too many stars is a big reason as to why some of these teams don't work out.
I think if we go off of super team history, not one of them's really worked out.
I mean,
there's people can name like one, but I mean, I just haven't really seen a super team out. Like, because the reason why G2 wasn't supposed to work out is because G2 was supposed to be like it's not even just because of the purse thing. It says there's too many people asking for resources. Like, it's going to be too many stars, not enough resources are on the map to sufficiently facilitate their team.
I think super teams really don't work when you have multiple loud voices. Like some people who want to be the
main big guy.
Yeah, they want to be the loudest voice on the team. That's the problem, and I don't think that's a really big problem with Team Liquid. I don't think they really have that. So I'm going to say that Team Liquid probably wins this easily. But again, CLG has the capabilities of winning this. I mean, Power of Evil is completely capable of at least doing decent against Jensen, if anything. Darshan, Wiggly is actually... yeah, I'm not talking about Darshan. I hate him.
Darshan... Oh, yeah, you're known in the comment section as being a Darshan hater.
I just don't understand why
Darshan and Wiggly versus Smithy and...
I'm not going to pair up top sides again.
Even if you did, it's going to be TL favorite anyway.
I think that Wiggly's capable of being at least, like, we'll have to see how good he comes in, but a lot of these players are saying that Wiggly's going to be good, and I think that if he's good, I think he's capable of being mechanically better than Xmithy at the very least. Xmithy's a smart player, but at the that's pretty much, like...
He's not like a standout performer.
He is. I think he's one of the better junglers again. I think he's the third best jungler if Dardoch and Meteos are both in the league. think he's the third best, but he's not in. So I think he's probably the second best jungler in the league right now. And that's all dependent on how good Wiggly is, obviously. We don't know how good he is because we've only seen one split from a few games, actually. But his few games looked incredible. He looked good in the academy scene, so we're going to have to see how that translates to the stage. And bot lane for CLG is not a gigantic pushover, but I don't think it's capable of holding its own against Doublelift and Core JJ. I think that Doublelift Core JJ just exert too much pressure.
Plus, Doublelift is laned with Battlefrost before. He knows what he's going to do.
I mean,
a lot of the times anyways. Like, he's talked about it before. Playing as Battlefrost is really easier for him because he's laned with him before. He knows what he likes to go for, what type of trades, what type of champions he likes to play. So not only do they have an advantage bot, they have even a double advantage bot because he knows how to play against Battlefrost. He just has to tell Core JJ what Battlefrost does, and it's pretty much a wrap.
I mean, you can't predict everybody's movement just because that's I don't think that's a really smart thing to like. Even if you kind of have laned with them, you kind of know their tendencies. I don't know if that. I guess those much tendencies more than that.
Can those tendencies change?
I mean, yes, obviously.
I mean, tendencies... I tend to be attractive every single day, but
oh wow, that was good.
Fist bump?
No.
See, I ask for fist bump all the time. He never gives me one.
Because I don't even want to touch you, honestly. Like no physical contact.
God, but that girl does. No.
I mean, she didn't. She kind of rejected you on the spot, but okay. So I think that again, Team Liquid probably edges this out because I just think their strengths in lanes are just too much for them. I don't think they're gonna be overbearing on the top side, but again, that's not really a strength for.
I think Impact will have no problem against Darshan.
I don't think they're gonna be overbearing in top lane against CLG, but again, CLG is kind of weak in the top side, so that doesn't matter at all. And that's pretty much it. I think that it's a pretty clear defined 1-0 for Team Liquid.
TL wins.
So this one's going to be the one where I look stupid in the comment section. This is going to be...
He gets rags on me about putting Cloud9 at first, and he's going to put Clutch as all the wins too.
Well, you put Cloud9 at first, which I put Clutch Gaming at third.
I had Cloud9 at second.
I put Clutch Gaming at fourth, and you put Cloud9 at second, and you were like, maybe they could beat Team Liquid. Maybe it's possible.
Yeah. It's also possible you get married next year.
Yeah, but you said
but this. God doesn't have magical powers. But...
That was just insulting, but okay.
He's gonna say Clutch every single time.
I'm not. I'm actually. So for the most part, I think that I'm gonna point out their strengths again. I'm gonna point out strengths of each team. I think that Broken Blade is extremely capable. I think he looked really good in the TCL, but I don't think he's as good as Huni. I think that's just yeah. I think that's asking a little too much to kind of expect him to win this lane. I mean, Huni has had a downward trajectory. Not a downward trajectory, but he had a slump kind of towards the end of the split. But he has those every once in a while. He had one in SKT.
We don't know how hungry he's going to be to even perform. That's the thing. Huni's all about performing, and if we don't know how, determined he is to perform, he's going to look bad on stage.
I think with the amount of Koreans they have on this team, I think there's going to be a lot more of a cultural similarity between these players. Especially two of them who have been on SKT before. I think there's going to be a lot of relations.
God, that's so weird.
But for the most part, I think that Huni is just a little too strong in this lane for Broken Blade to keep up. I think that jungle, again, Lyra has been a big question mark, but this is going to be a good game for him because he doesn't have to go against a substantially okay jungler. I think he's going to be capable of just seeing how much he can bounce back because, Acadian is just not great. I mean...
Neither is Lyra, that's the thing.
Yeah,
This is pretty even between the bottom junglers.
What I'm saying is, we've seen what Lyra's capable of, which is quite a bit better than Acadian. And Acadian's best has been 2 games in his rookie year. I don't want to give any credit to. I think Lyra probably even now wins this out. I think that he hasn't been playing well, but again, I think he's going to look a lot better with 2 more Koreans on this team. So hopefully, this is kind of a turning point for his career, back on the right path. And mid lane, I think Demonte versus Bjergsen. I like Demonte. I think that Demonte still has some time.
You have power ranked at 10th.
9th? Did I? That's 10th.
He was straight bottom.
Yeah. So I think Demonte has some capabilities. Obviously, I mean he's only played 1 split fully, and he's shown that glimpses of being a pretty great mid laner. But for the most part, I just think that his second split was just bad. I think he has the capabilities of bouncing back again. He's just kind of new to the scene. But for the most part, I don't know if this is the kind of team to develop him. I think that there's only really one good team in terms of developing talent, and that's Cloud9. I don't think that Clutch Gaming is the team to do it. I mean, TSM, Bjergsen, obviously, I don't really think you can even slightly give the S to Demonte.
If he's playing Cassiopeia...
Okay, no. I don't think so. But I think Demonte he'd
I
grow.
think Sven and Smoothie smash Piglet and Vulcan.
Shut your mouth. We weren't even to that lane yet. So for the most part, I think that I think that Demonte is he can grow into be a capable mid laner, but being as good as Bjergsen is probably just not going to happen. And then we go to the bot lane. I think I've talked a little bit about this lane. A little bit about Piglet.
Smoothie MVP candidate, world's top 8 guy versus Vulcan.
I mean, you can give credit to team. I mean, Smoothie if you want, but he didn't look incredible last season. I think that Vulcan, if you watch the academy scene, on top of the fact if you've watched his 2 games in the LCS, I think his first game looked incredible. Like not incredible, but I think he honestly. Piglet and Vulcan honestly outlaned Aframu and Cody-san in their match against each other. I think that it kind of came down to like how poorly they did outside of lane. Well, not more so as team. I think they fell apart around the map. But for the most part, I think that their second game, Vulcan looked terrible. Vulcan looked absolutely terrible. But again, that's not really reflective. I mean, I think that's really too much to ask. Like a consistently good. Like somebody who just came into the challenger scene, out of the challenger scene to play the 2 best teams in the league at that point, out of 100 Thieves and Team Liquid, like that was a little too much to ask for him. I think that Vulcan is going to look pretty decent in this next season. I think he's going to look quite a bit better. I think he's capable of being a really good support, but I don't know.
I don't know how it's going to translate against Sven and Smoothie.
They did find against.
Them just on paper, it's incredible.
Oh, again, he did find against Aframu and Cody-san, which is a good mid. Bot lane Well, it was good. It was good at that point. It was one of the better ones in the league. Mm-hmm. I think that Cody-san obviously didn't go outside of...
You're going to say Piglet's better than Sven, aren't you?
I mean, it's just counteractive playstyles. I don't think Piglet's better than Sven. Obviously, I had Piglet... Did I not have Sven ranked at number 1?
You did.
I did.
And if you say Piglet was better than him, you'd be
I would be a big liar. So wouldn't
a
I?
big liar?
Okay. So for the most part, I think that what it's going to come down to is Piglet's aggressive tendencies in lane versus Sven's more passive playstyle. I think it's gonna allow Piglet to get the lead. I think that Piglet is probably gonna get the lead in this lane, but if they don't close out the game, I think Sven's late game is just quite a bit too good. I don't think that anybody can really win the game. If it comes down to late game, I think this team is gonna lose. But again, I think that Clutch Gaming is very capable of winning the early game. I think they have a lot of good pieces on this team to kind of bring this game to a close earlier on, so this team doesn't really.
I think Clutch's aggressive playstyle will counteract TSM's passive late game playstyle. But we don't know what playstyle we're going to be getting out of TSM because they have Acadian, Broken Blade. Bjergsen has 3 new players are on the map to play around now.
I think Broken Blade's not a rookie, but I think Acadian's weak. We've seen how good he is.
You're going to say Clutch, aren't you?
I'm going to actually give the edge to TSM. I think that Clutch... No, I'm going to give the edge to Clutch. Honestly,
that wasn't surprising.
Well, it was. I even rated TSM higher, but again, I think this is extremely early on in the year. I think TSM has not had time to figure out how they're going to macro around the league. I think that TSM is going to end up being second place in the league, or third, at the very least. But as it stands right now, it's too early in the season. I think that TSM is going to have to try and figure out how they're going to kind of walk around the map before they do anything. I think that they win in a lot of these lanes later on, but they're not going to be able to hold off the aggressive playstyle that Clutch Gaming has early on in the season.
I think this is just going to be a weaker version of Echo Fox from last year at the first start.
I would say stronger, honestly.
Almost, because the jungler was good, you had the mid laner who was good.
I think the bot lane's quite a bit better on this than the Echo Fox team. So I think
it's going to be not a liability.
I think that it really depends on what Lyra shows up to say how good this is in comparison to last season. But again, I'm going to give the edge to Clutch Gaming because aggressive playstyles really do win out early in the season, and TSM is just too passive. I don't think they're going to have the shot calling right now with this new of a team.
Then you also count on TSM changing playstyle too.
Yeah, they're not going to change the play. This is going to be a passive team. I can't imagine they go for an aggressive playstyle.
So yeah, I'll say... I just want to see you lose. So I'm going to say TSM.
Very nice.
Because the bot lane difference is so big, man.
He's literally just saying, he doesn't even care. He doesn't even think that.
Sven has been substantially better than Piglet for a while.
Okay, I'm not giving you a ride home if you say one of those things.
I guess I'll walk home then.
Yeah, I think that Sven is obviously better. I rated him higher.
Smoothie, as I think, still better, even though he's been slumping for a little bit.
But the thing about it is, again, counteractive playstyles it doesn't really matter if these things happen again. Because I think that Piglet is substantially good at kind of picking apart these passive kind of plays, ADCs. So I think that Clutch Gaming is going to have it earlier on, and by the end of the
Maybe
year,
next time they play around.
yeah, by the end of the season, I think TSM smashes this. I think that TSM has the capabilities of having good macro, where so is Clutch Gaming doesn't. So that's probably going to be the big defining weakness of this
Now
team.
this is the question that no one is going to answer. Would you want Freak casting this game?
Yeah, I like Freak. I know that's a really rare thing for people to say, but I like Freak's I've been so used to it. I guess that I've kind of adapted.
Would you rather have Freak or Quickshot cast this game?
I would prefer Kobe, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to ask.
Gosh, yeah, they're going to ask our permission, right?
Yeah. Okay, so
Echo Fox and GG, because this is going to be a GG for Golden Guardians.
I'm actually not gonna say that. I think that
How in the world did Echo Fox win this?
I mean, look at the jungle difference, man. I mean, contract.
Beside that, everywhere else, Golden Guardians kind of just wins.
I mean, kind of just wins. I mean, that's saying something. I think that Phoenix again is an incredible mid laner. I think that he's been kind of lacking in the past few, in the last few weeks of the regular season during the spring split. But I don't think he's bad. I think he can easily come to form and, at the very least, hold his own against Froggen, who I don't know how good he is because he hasn't played for an entire year. Top lane, we're going to have Hanser versus Lorlo. I don't think that's going to go very well for Lorlo.
That's going to not go well for any player that they play. You can play solo. It's not going to.
And the bot lane, definitely Ole is a really good bot lane, man. I think that Hato, Apollo Hakuo are good. Shut your mouth! Don't laugh at me. So
English.
Yeah, Apollo Haku are a good bot lane, but they're not capable. They're not capable of beating this. Like they actually are. The days they pop off are really good. Again, we've seen them smash Sven and Mithy, but they're only as good. They're only good on specific days, but they're consistently decent. So they can have a pop off game, but for the most part, Golden Guardians wins the lane most every time. I think they win mid lane for the most part, and I think they win top lane. But the problem is, we need to know how good. I think that this is going to come down to how gigantic of a difference this jungle difference is. Because Rush is just substantially better than Contracts. I think he's going to be able to bring, kind of mitigate these laning losses his team's going to have, and I think he's going to be able to. If he's not a carry jungler, I think he could take over the game if he kind of keeps the rest of the team. More so, if he gets the early ganks off, I think he can keep the rest of the team of getting too far ahead. Again, these players.
I think the difference in top and mid are going to be a really big thing for Echo Fox to lose in. Jungle wise, we don't even know what Rush we're going to see.
Rush has not really looked bad in his career, to be honest.
Is he going to be better than Contracts on the day? Probably.
100%. Can't imagine he does.
Maybe Contracts, now that he has the better players around him, can perform substantially better. Then I could also, inherit $1 million tomorrow. Probably not going to happen. Apollo Deft Hakuho Ole. That seems kind of even, honestly, because I don't want to say that Deft and Ole are substantially better yet until we see them perform.
Again, we could not say. We can only go off by what's on paper.
I'm gonna say they go even. Actually,
I think that Golden Guardians is probably gonna smash this, but if it does come down to an Echo Fox win, it's gonna come off of the back of Rush and Phoenix, I think. So that's where we're gonna see a win. But I think that Golden Guardians pretty much wins this most times. Just the lane differences are too big.
I'm gonna say Golden Guardians win this.
Okay, so please stop flaming me. I'm sorry, my picks are terrible, but it's kind of hard to predict these things at the beginning of the year because I can only go off what's on paper. I'm not.
I like flaming you.
Yeah, I bet you do. My EU predictions haven't been very good, but
I'm always right.
I think that by the end of the year, these are going to become less and less volatile, and we're going to be able to see who the better teams are.
Obviously, Cloud9's going to win the split. So.
And I don't know what we're going to be doing. What are we going to be doing for when the season actually starts fully? What are we going to do during the regular weeks?
I was going to work on something. I have a bunch of projects.
Projects. I don't know about any of these. I just want everybody to know.
We're going to work on building our own esports teams.
Not gonna happen.
It's gonna be called Way of Life Esports.
He said this exact name, so I think this is a plan now.
We're gonna field players in League.
Okay.
Dota.
So that's pretty much it. I think. Shut up. So I think that's pretty much it.
Cloud9's going 2-0 after this first week. Wait, that's this.
Okay. That's pretty much it.
Clutch is gonna go 0-2.
I'm just gonna close it so he stops upsetting me.